Support for this podcast comes from the law firm of Davis Malm. Whether you're a developer, property owner, manager, or commercial tenant, their real estate attorneys know the lay of the land, not just the law. Learn more at davismalm.com.
WBUR Podcasts, Boston.
I'm Daryl C. Murphy, and you're listening to The Common. WBUR reporter Simone Rios, welcome back to The Common.
Thank you, brother. Good to be here.
Always a pleasure to have you. So, Simone, tonight is the first night of Hanukkah. And, this holiday comes at a time of a lot of turmoil. It's the 2-month anniversary of Hamas's brutal October 7th attack. It comes during Israel's devastating military response in Gaza, and also during rising reports of anti-Semitism here in the United States. And, Simone, you went and checked in with some Boston area rabbis to see how they're addressing all of this with their congregations. I really want to talk to you about that. But first, just set us up with a brief history about Hanukkah and its origins.
Yeah. So Hanukkah, my understanding of it was always that it was a minor Jewish holiday, and kind of this sense that the real impetus was so that Jewish kids would have an alternative to Christmas. But it turns out you go into the story, which happened more than 2,100 years ago, and it's a powerful story of redemption. This was a time when the Holy Land was controlled by the Greeks, by the Greek Empire. And at one point, they moved to just ban Judaism. And they took over the temple in Jerusalem, turned it into a temple for Zeus, the Greek god of thunder. And this Hanukkah story commemorates a rebellion by the Maccabees. It was this rabbinical family, these devout Jews of the day, who decided to organize kind of a guerrilla campaign against the Greek rulers of the time. And apparently it's arguable, and you go back into the holy books, and there's some debate over how things actually turned out. But this is essentially a celebration of Jewish resistance and the assertion of Jewish identity. One of the people I talked to for this story was Rob Likend. He's the head of the New England chapter of AJC, the American Jewish Committee. Listen to what he had to say about Hanukkah.
We are asserting the center of Jewish peoplehood, the center of Jewish ritual life. The oil that was meant for a day lasts 8 days to keep the light burning. And it's, in a sense, it's a way of saying we exist, we're here, we have sustained our presence in our land.
So you talked to some local rabbis about how they're speaking to their congregations during this time, during Hanukkah. Tell us about some of the conversations you've had and what kind of concerns are they addressing with their congregations?
I mean, there's so much here. I think, first of all, is this idea that Hanukkah, that the lighting of the menorah and displaying it publicly, that's part of, the old Jewish tradition is to put it in the window and to really celebrate Judaism, to celebrate the accomplishment of the Maccabees, 2,000 years ago. But Hanukkah this year in 2023 comes at a very difficult time. I mean, what happened on October 7th was the worst massacre of Jews since the Holocaust. And of course, it was followed by this continuing now 2-month-long campaign in Gaza that's killed many more people than were killed on October 7th. And it's also happening in the context of anti-Semitism. The ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, put out some research about a week ago showing that nearly 3/4 of Jewish students on U.S. college campuses had either witnessed or experienced some form of anti-Semitism this school year, which is a huge increase from previous levels. And so Hanukkah this year comes amid a time of strife for Jewish people around the world. And I think that probably any holiday for any faith takes on a special significance when faced with times of adversity. That's what I'm hearing from the rabbis around Eastern Massachusetts I've been speaking with.
Mm-hmm. And how are they talking to their congregations about safety?
Yeah, I mean, safety is a huge concern. I think it goes back to the Tree of Life synagogue shootings in 2018 in Pittsburgh, that many congregations, if not most, have locked their doors. I spoke to Rabbi Fred Benjamin at the synagogue in Milton, and he was saying, yeah, we have to pre-clear anybody who's going to come and visit the temple, which is kind of shocking to me. You know, you think of a church or a synagogue or a mosque, any kind of religious institution as having an open doors type of situation, but that's not the case, at least in the Jewish community. Mm-hmm. And what got me to doing this story specifically about the celebration of Hanukkah in difficult times was Rabbi Benjamin was saying that in the tradition, in the rabbinical codes that have existed for hundreds and thousands of years, that there's a precedent for not displaying the menorah in times of persecution, right? So, as I said before, you're supposed to put the menorah in the window, and it's supposed to be a celebration of Judaism. But because of so much persecution of Jewish people over the millennia, there's actually a precedent for, okay, in times of persecution, if it's going to pose a danger to display the menorah, it's okay to not do that and just keep it inside the house. And that's not to say that Jews here in the Boston area are doing that they're not displaying their menorah. In fact, everybody I spoke to who has done that in years past is going to display the menorah this year. One of the rabbis I interviewed was Raphael Cantor down at a synagogue in New Bedford. Let's listen to what he had to say about celebrating Hanukkah in the United States.
Because I am in the United States of America, and because I know that if anything were to happen to me or my family, the powers of the police and the people who enforce the laws would come down very hard on anyone who came. That is why I will be putting my Hanukkah menorah displayed prominently in the same way it has every year.
And he said that for him, the menorah is a symbol not only of the Jewish celebration of Hanukkah, but also the rabbi's pride in being part of this country.
We're going to take a break, but we'll be right back.
Politics has never been stranger or more online, which is why the politics team at Wired is making a new show, Wired Politics Lab. It's all about how to navigate the endless stream of news and information and what to look out for. Each week on the show, we'll dig into far-right platforms, AI chatbots, influencer campaigns, and so much more. Wired Politics Lab launches Thursday, April 11th. Follow the show wherever you get your podcasts.
And we're back with more from Simone. So, Simone, did you talk to any members of congregations who may be thinking about what's happening in Gaza and thinking about Israel's retaliation to October 7th? Because as we're seeing a lot of demonstrations in the region and around the world, you know, a lot of Jews are at the forefront of these movements, these calls for ceasefires, these calls for freedom and equality for Palestinians. Did any of that come up in your conversations among members of congregations?
Yeah, absolutely, Daryl. I mean, with everybody that I spoke to, you know, people are thinking about Jewish suffering and Palestinian suffering as well. In fact, I posed the question to Rabbi Elaine Zecker at Temple Israel in Boston in the Longwood neighborhood. You know, she talked about how Again, Hanukkah is a celebration of Judaism, but it's about more than just the Jewish community. Let's listen to what she had to say.
In any Jewish holiday, it helps us find the spiritual strength in the face of adversity. But I will also say, because I really believe this so much, is that Jews, Muslims, any minority cannot exist without all of us holding hands and walking forward together and finding the humanity in one another.
And, I'll give you another example. A Jewish housing activist up in Lynn, who I was speaking to, Isaac Simon Hodes is his name, was telling me he's among local Jews who are vociferously calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. And he said that his mom, for example, bought her Hanukkah candles, right, from a pro-Palestinian vendor, and they received a note with the candles, essentially praying for there to be a ceasefire and for there to be peace. So I got to say, within the Jewish community, there's a huge range of perspectives on what's going on there. And, through talking about Hanukkah, we got a little sampling of what people are saying.
Well, Simone, thank you so much for coming through to The Common. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Hey, thanks for having me, Daryl. I appreciate it. Happy Hanukkah.
That's WBUR reporter Simone Rios. And that's our show for today. Thank you so much for listening to The Common. If you want to get in touch with us, hit us up on Instagram at WBUR The Common, or send us an email at thecommon@wbur.org. Please let us know how you are celebrating Hanukkah this year. And with that, I'm Daryl C. Murphy, and I will talk to you tomorrow.